January 17th, 1943. Auschwitz-Birkenau. Snow drifts across the barbed wire fences, catching on the tips of the wooden guard towers like tiny shards of glass. The air smells of smoke and iron. The rhythmic barking of dogs echoes through the night as spotlights sweep over rows of prisoners standing motionless in the cold. Their striped uniforms, thin, torn, and stinking of chemicals, flutter weakly in the wind. In Block 24, the tailoring workshop, a man named Salomon Smolianoff leans over a sewing table under a flickering bulb. His hands tremble, not from the cold, but from exhaustion. He's been ordered to repair uniforms for SS officers, tunics, coats, insignia patches. The fabric feels heavy in his hands. Coarse wool, thick thread, polished buttons stamped with eagles. It's the texture of power. Salomon once ran a small tailor shop in Germany. Before the war, his customers were businessmen and soldiers, young men on their way to dance halls, women needing dresses fitted for spring weddings. Now his customers are the same men, but they wear skulls on their caps and carry whips instead of flowers. Across the room, an SS sergeant watches with a cigarette dangling from his lips. "Faster, Jude," he mutters. "The commandant doesn't like to wait." Salomon nods silently and continues stitching. But something in his eyes changes. Every needle stroke is measured, deliberate. Every seam he repairs, every tunic he presses, it's all being memorized. He studies the collars, the lining, the thread color, the insignia positions. He's not just sewing uniforms. He's learning how to build them. Because deep in the chaos of Auschwitz, Salomon has decided on something impossible. He will make a German uniform, not for them, but for escape. Section 2. The Needle and the Whisper. Over the following weeks, rumors spread through the tailoring block like smoke. Salomon is working on something strange. He's been collecting scraps of wool from discarded jackets, salvaging buttons from the laundry piles, trimming insignias off corpses brought in from the crematorium. He hides them under the floorboards. One night, after roll call, another prisoner, Jakob Stern, a metal worker, slips into the tailor's hut. He finds Salomon bent over a piece of cloth that's definitely not striped. "What are you doing?" Jakob whispers. Salomon doesn't look up. "Measuring the distance between life and death," he says softly. Jakob sees it then, an incomplete SS uniform jacket spread across the table. The color is wrong, too pale, but from a distance, under dim light, it looks convincing. They both know what it means. If someone could wear that jacket, stand straight, walk with authority, maybe, just maybe, they could pass through the gate. The plan grows quietly. Salomon recruits others. A forger who once worked in Warsaw printing offices. A locksmith, a translator who knows the right German inflections. Each man is chosen not for strength, but for precision. Every night, while the guards sleep, Salomon sews by candlelight. The others watch the door. His fingers are cracked and bleeding, but he keeps going. He repurposes old insignia pins, dyes cloth using soot mixed with animal fat, and burns thread ends to mimic factory edges. By February, he's finished the first jacket, then a pair of trousers, then a cap. When the others see it laid out on the table, they fall silent. It's uncanny, almost perfect. Jakob runs his fingers over the collar. "They'll never believe this," he mutters. Salomon replies quietly, "They laughed when I made it. They won't be laughing when it walks out the gate." Section 3. Laughter in the workshop. Word spreads faster than he expected. When the SS sergeant catches sight of the mock uniform one morning, he bursts out laughing. "What's this?" he jeers. "Trying to dress like your betters, eh?" The guards pass it around, mocking the stitching, the uneven dye, the slightly crooked patch. Salomon stands motionless as their laughter fills the barracks. He smiles faintly and says, "I wanted to see if I could make something worthy of the Reich." The sergeant grins and tosses the jacket back. "You, a Jew, you couldn't fool a blind man." They leave it behind, dismissing it as a pathetic attempt at humor. But that's the point. The humiliation gives him cover. From that day forward, Salomon's joke project is invisible to the guards, nothing but a silly prisoner's hobby. Behind closed doors, though, it becomes the core of Operation Needle, a plan involving stolen papers, copied insignia, and a bold escape through the front gate itself. In late March, Salomon finishes 3 complete uniforms. Each is slightly different, tailored to fit a specific prisoner's height and build. They even have leather belts with buckles scavenged from dead officers. The men practice their salutes, their gait, their German. One, a former actor, drills them on posture and speech patterns. "The key," he says, "is not to look brave. It's to look bored." Salomon watches silently, his hands trembling as he hides a needle inside his shoe. He's made something more dangerous than a weapon. He's made belief. The disguise. April 3rd, 1943, 4:45 a.m. The morning roll call is called early. Fog covers the camp like a shroud. From the women's barracks, faint coughing drifts through the mist. The ground is frozen. Every step crunches. Inside Block 24, Salomon helps the first man into the uniform. The jacket fits perfectly. The SS emblem on the sleeve is slightly frayed, but under the dim dawn light, it looks authentic. Jakob tightens the belt, takes a breath, and murmurs, "If we make it, we don't look back." They step out into the fog. 2 SS guards escorting a group of laborers. Their boots click in rhythm. The real guards at the gate barely glance up. A bored nod, a muttered order. The prisoners keep walking. 50 meters, then 100, then the outer fence. Salomon walks in the rear, his cap low. His mouth is dry, his heartbeat thundering. A dog barks. A guard shouts something in German. Jakob answers sharply, his accent flawless. The barking stops. The guard waves them through. They cross the threshold into the world beyond the wire. No one calls after them. No alarm sounds. For the first time in years, Salomon breathes free air. Behind them, the chimneys of Auschwitz still pour smoke into the pale morning sky. The Vanishings. By midday, 3 uniforms are missing from the workshop inventory. The SS sergeant orders an inspection, certain that a prisoner has stolen something. When he realizes what's missing, jackets, boots, and caps, he laughs again. Who would steal SS uniforms? What would they even do with them? By nightfall, the laughter dies. A search party finds fresh footprints along the riverbank, leading toward the forest. One body is found days later, shot in the back near a farmstead. The others vanish. In the camp, whispers spread. They made it. They walked out dressed as devils. Salomon never confirms it. He only keeps sewing, repairing uniforms for his captors while quietly mending hope for those still alive. Weeks later, he's transferred to another camp. The trail of the Tailor of Auschwitz fades into rumor and myth. But the guards never joke about uniforms again. The needle that outlasted the Reich. When the war ends, the Allies find Smolianoff alive in southern Germany, hiding under a false name. He's thin, nearly skeletal, but his hands are still steady. In his belongings is a small sewing needle wrapped in cloth. When questioned, he admits to forging documents, sewing disguises, and helping prisoners escape. The officers ask him, how he managed it. He simply says, "A good tailor knows. If the stitch is right, no one looks twice." Years later, survivors who escaped through Auschwitz's front gate tell the same story. 3 men dressed in SS uniforms walking calmly into the fog, never to return. Historians debate how many made it out. Some say 2, some say none. But one thing is certain. Salomon's creation, his uniform of freedom, became one of the few acts of defiance that took place under the very eyes of the SS. A needle, a thread, and courage sharper than any blade. In a place built to strip people of identity, one tailor used fabric to build an illusion so perfect it became truth. And somewhere, in the ashes of Auschwitz, maybe one stitch still holds, a thread that refused to break.